All right, I'm looking to start with your two side pieces. So you should have a side that's 19 and a quarter by 12 and 3/4. And so as I look around back here on your plywood, is that what this piece is right here? I'm guessing that's what this is. And so as we take a look here, what we need to have happen is we want to have these dados in the right spot. So the bottom one's right flush. I would come up to here and get the next one just so we have these all in the right spot. We don't have any question as to the correct location of all of these pieces. And it really doesn't matter if you're pulling from the top or the bottom. So we come back over here, 3.5 is the first one. And so that would be your drawer down there. So we would come from the far edge to here. That's 3.5. Your next one is 6 1/4 and 9. So from here to here, 6 1/4 and 9. That's all looking good so far. And 11 3/4 and 14.5. All right, so those all look good for their sizes. Now, what we want to do is have a groove for the backing to sit into. So we don't want to see the backing on the side of this. So we would need to come in 3/4 of an inch. So over 0.75 and down. This is a rabbet for the backing to sit into. And then we would want to see that on the other piece as well, up here. But we got to make sure that we're making a right and a left. So I did that on the left side over there. When I do it up here, I'm going to come to the right side, over 0.75, and bring that down. Okay. So now when we come back to our other pieces, your top and bottom should be the same way. So 29, let's see what we got here. 33. So these pieces should be that 32 1/4. And so let's look on here. That's not that piece. That's over here. So on your top and bottom, they should also be 12 3/4. Now, when we look at this piece over here, with all those pieces, should be 12 3/4 as well. Now you have them small. So like on this one, that needs to be 12 3/4. It's a pretty easy change. You're going to grab the arrow selection tool and draw a box around half of that. Okay, you see how that whole back half turns blue. And now we're going to move this out. Let's just do little bits at a time. Let's go an inch. That's not enough. Let's go another inch. Now we're in the right ballpark. Now we're 3/4 or 1/4 inch off. So I'm going to grab it and move it another 0.25. And now we're at that 12 3/4. Now this other one needs to be that 12 3/4 as well. And so because I have more room on this left side, I'm going to highlight the left side. And I'm going to move it out. It was 2 1/4. And that makes that 12 3/4. So that looks good. Now on your piece over here, your top, this should be 12 3/4. So if we highlight the edge and make that all blue and 4-arrow move tool, and we're going to move it out 2.25. Okay. So that looks good. And the length, though, is not right because the length, we looked over here, should be 32 1/4. So we come over here, we need to make this a little bit shorter. I'm going to highlight this end piece And I'm going to move that back in 3/4 of an inch, 0.75. Okay. So now that top is the right size. Now, if we look at this, you call that the top, which you told me this was upside down. So we need to have one of these that have all these dados in there. So one of them needs to have these dados, one of them does not. This divider does. So let's come up here and keep looking for the other pieces. Insert file slot. Let's look for that bottom piece that's going to match that. And on that top, while we're here, let's put that 3/4 on there. So come back 0.75 and draw your line straight down. That's for your backing to sit into. All right, so what I found are these are your two bottom and dividers here. So that's this piece up here and this piece down here. Now from the outside edge to that divider is 10 3/8. That's good. That's what it is on the plywood piece. And 10 3/8. And then you have 10 1/2 in the middle here. Oh, 10 in the middle here. I'm not sure that's what that's supposed to be. Based on that other view I looked at. But if we come in here and take a look, so 10 3/8, that looks good, and 10 and 10 3/8. So what we need to do on here is one of these needs to be 2 1/4 inches bigger. So I'm going to grab with the arrow tool and select the back half, and I'm going to take the 4 arrow move tool and make that 2 1/4 inches bigger, 2.25. Okay. So that's 12 3/4. Now we have this line going through here, which shouldn't be here. That's part of the plywood sheet. We're going to need to move things around. You have room over here. And then we're going to come in on this side 3/4 of an inch, 0.75. And that 3/4 is where the backing is going to fit into. Okay, so let's come straight down to there. Oops, I was a little far. We're going to take the eraser tool and erase that little line sticking through. So all of these need to be shifted over a little bit, and that's where that line comes from there. Okay, that little jog. Now, this center divider is not the right size. It should be 12 inches. So just like the other one, we're going to move it 1.5 inches now. We're going to select this, and I don't want to do that because these are in the way. So maybe what I'll do is I can select this and move these over. Once they touch another line, they'll stick. So that's why I have to move them first. And then I'm going to select this and move this over 1.25 inches, or 1.5 inches. This is 3/4 less because it only fits from the back of the cabinet to the back of the front of the back piece here. So that's why it's 12 inches. All right, so all of these shelves now that fit in between are all going to be the smaller size, 12 inches. And they should be 12 inches from, we want the grain to run sideways on here. So they're going to be 12 inches from front to back. So they should be 12 inches this way here, okay? Because that would, right, front to back. No, so from this side should be 12 inches. Okay, so 12 inches on the ends. Now, that's it. Right now it's 10 5/8. So if we take this, since they're all in the line, I could grab all of them at once. And I'm going to move them. I need to go 1 3/8. So I'm going to pull it out 1.375. And now they're at 12 inches. Same thing here. These should all be 12 inches, everything in the middle. So I'm going to come out 12 or 1.375, and those look good. Now the length of these are going to be different. The length of these, you should have some at 10 inches. Nope, we got to have those dados in there. So some at 10 3/8, and some are just going to be, so 10 3/8. No, I want that outside one. 10 and 5/8, and then this one is going to be 10 and a half. So you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 at 10 and 5/8. So I don't know if you have these in certain spots, but you need to have 10 of them at, there's 8 of them at 10 and 5/8. So you do need some of them at 10 and a half too. You're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe leave these 1, 2, 3, 4 at 10 and a half since they're already there, and not have to fix those. But these ones would need to be 10 and 5/8 on here because we only need 4 of them that are 10 and a half. Okay, so you need to dimension those, and then down here at the bottom, these are going to be need to be moved too to 12 inches and 10 and 5/8 the other way. So 12 right and left, 10 and 5/8 up and down. Now let's see what you have for like this 10 and 5/8 here by 29 and a quarter. What is that piece? How long are these? That's only 13. Those are only 4. I'm not sure what this piece is right here. And again, that's where your labeling these pieces would come into and help so that we know how big these pieces are supposed to be or what it's supposed to be so I can check it. So I'm unsure about that one. These are your drawer fronts, 3 pieces. Now your drawers need to have the joints on there. So front and back, let's take a look here. Your front and back are going to have a rabbet. You're going to come down 3/4 of an inch. And that's where the dados or the rabbets are to hold the drawer together, 3/4. And you're going to do the same thing to all of your fronts and backs. Now, typically we do on our front and sides, we're going to come up 0.5 inches, a half inch, and draw that across. And then we're going to come up 0.25, and that's the groove where the bottom fits in, right? The bottom fits right in here. This would be your workable space. This is some support for the bottom. Okay, now you might have enough 3/4 inch plywood left over to make the whole bottoms out of 3/4 inch plywood, and that's fine on this box. That would be okay. But we need to make sure those would be laid out, and then we need to account for those as well. But either way, your fronts and backs all get these rabbets, okay, on the edges, and then your sides and your fronts get this groove. Now, if you're going to use a 3/4 inch piece, then you would just delete this line here, and that would be a 3/4 inch rabbet down there for your bottom to go through. Okay, and that way would be fine too. You would just need to draw your bottom on there. That way you have all of your pieces would get this 3/4 inch bottom if you're going to use a 3/4 inch bottom piece. It wouldn't slide in and out. Okay, let's take a look here. What else do we have? These will be your dividers, and they are 13 3/4. All right, looking at your divider here, these sizes all look good. Okay, I checked these sizes over on your back view, so the position looks good. These just need to be 1.5 inches bigger. So we'll just highlight this one side, use the 4-arrow move tool, grab a corner, and pull it out the way you want to go, 1.5, and now they're at 12 inches. You'll need to do that to both of them, and move this out 1.5. All right, so that took care of those pieces. Are all looked at. We looked over here. You have to readjust these pieces. I talked about them in the video earlier. These dividers here. Now, these little pieces, let's make sure that these are what we want. The grain should go up and down. And let's see. I'm not sure those are dividers. Again, labeling would help. So I'm not really sure what this is, but you do need to account for all of these little pieces here, right? No, there's no dividers, no dividers. No, you don't need to account for any of those. So I'm not really sure what this piece is because you only need 2 dividers and you have them over here. Okay, and this piece here is 12 3/4 by 19 1/4. So maybe those are your sides that we already had over here as well, right? We have one side here, one side there. That's what those are. That's your sides. Okay, so this piece here is the only piece I'm not sure that you need. I'm not sure where it goes, and maybe you can help me out by labeling that. So once you make these changes, then you can resubmit your work.